The race for control of Congress is too close to call. It could be days or even weeks before we know for sure which party will control the Senate. The House is likely to turn Republican, but that's not settled yet either. So far, Republicans have gained 6 seats in the House, with Democrats gaining 1 seat in the Senate. But this was not the huge red wave Republicans were hoping for, and it was a disappointing night for former President Trump. But while it was better than expected for President Biden, his ability to work across the aisle could be tested like never before. ABC News senior Washington reporter Devin Dwyer joins me live now to break it all down for us. Devin, good morning. You know, this path to control of the Senate now comes down to Georgia, Nevada, Arizona, and Wisconsin. What are you watching for there?
Hey, good morning to you, Diane. Well, let's just take a step back for a second. Headed into the election, Republicans only needed to take 1 seat. They needed to flip 1 seat in the Senate to take control of that body. And we can say this morning, as you just said in your open, that it's still too close to call. We don't know. Republicans have not done that yet. In fact, in the races that ABC News has projected, Republicans have lost ground. Let's take a look at Pennsylvania. That was a hotly contested seat. A Republican-controlled Pat Toomey was the incumbent there. And last night, ABC News was able to project that Democrat John Fetterman was able to defeat Mehmet Oz in that seat. That means now, Diane, Republicans will have to pick up 2 seats in the remaining balance of the states that you mentioned so far. So they'll also need to hold on to Wisconsin. Let's take a look there. That was also a very close race. Ron Johnson, the incumbent Republican, has said this morning he will not declare victory yet until every vote is counted. It's looking good for Republicans there, but it's close. So where are the best chances for Republicans to pick up a seat? Let's go to Nevada. Catherine Cortez Masto was seen as the most vulnerable Democratic incumbent in this Senate race. Diana, look at that. She's trailing Adam Laxalt. 80% of the vote in at this hour, so still too close to call. ABC News has not projected that race. But if Republicans were to take that, that would be a step toward claiming the Senate majority. Let's go to Arizona, another battleground in this Senate contest. Look at that. Mark Kelly with 68% of the vote in has a pretty sizable lead there over Blake Masters. That was the Trump endorsed candidate. Still early, so 2 races, Nevada, Arizona, too close to call. It could all come down to Georgia, Diane, believe it or not. Let's take a look there. If no candidate gets 50% in this race, it heads to a runoff. You see Raphael Warnock, the Democrat, he's the incumbent right now, has a slight edge over Herschel Walker going into the final stage. Just about 20,000 votes separating them. Georgia's Deputy Secretary of State last night, Diane, said he's almost certain this will be a runoff, and that would take place in December. So depending upon how these races shake out, we still might not know until Christmas just who has control of the United States Senate.
A little deja vu from 2020 there, Devin. I know you also got a firsthand look at the ballot counting process in Pennsylvania. Officials were warning that it could take days or even weeks to count all the votes in the key Senate race there. So is it surprising that we're seeing John Fetterman already projected to win over Dr. Mehmet Oz?
Well, let's be clear, Diane, they're still counting ballots this morning in Pennsylvania. In fact, at last check, about 15% of the mail-in vote, you see some of those mail-in ballots there. We saw them yesterday. 183,000 votes have not been counted in Pennsylvania. That's just the mail ballots. About 6% of in-person voting still outstanding. So they're still doing that tally. So the fact that John Fetterman in the votes already counted is leading by 144,000 votes over Mehmet Oz, that's significant, and one reason why ABC News is able to project that he is the winner of that Pennsylvania race, because that margin is so significant. Now, you asked, is it surprising? Well, it's certainly indicative of the better-than-expected performance Democrats have had on this election day nationwide. The 538 polling average in Pennsylvania had it at a razor-thin margin, in fact, had Dr. Oz ahead. So the fact that we're seeing John Fetterman pull out a win in Pennsylvania is significant.
And Devin, Republicans appear likely to take control of the House, but it's not a sure thing. Where do those races stand?
Yeah, control of the House, Diane, is still very much up in the air at this hour. In fact, according to the ABC polling analysis and our results, which you can find at abcnews.com, let's take a look here. Republicans have made gains. They need, remember, 5 seats to flip 5 seats from Democrats. So far, they're up 6, so they would seem to be in good shape. But there are 40 races that still have not been called yet or even have a clear leader. So the trend lines suggest that Republicans are on pace to take the House, but we're not seeing that red tidal wave that some in the party had predicted. And in any event, if Republicans do win the House, that will be a narrow majority headed into next year, Diane.
All right, Devin Dwyer, thanks for that.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.